Hey guys, I'm going to show you a real fun and easy way to make some Ezekiel bread. The Bible tells us what to put into a jar, but it doesn't tell us exactly how to make it. So a lot of people sprout, and I sprout most of the time because of digestional issues. So I'm going to start with barley. I'm going to use einkorn wheat, which is the most ancient grain. There's a train, sorry. Millet. This is foxtail millet. It is also the oldest millet I could find available to me, and I think it actually might be the oldest millet. This spelt is amazing. Through my research, it actually might be spelt that Joseph in the Bible saved when he was saving the people by saving food. I'm going to use as a bean. I'm going to use peas, which are a bean, but I'm also going to use some pre-cooked beans. I'm going to dehydrate them down, and I'm going to use some red lentils. Now, I'm going to conserve a lot of water because I live off grid, and it's really hard to do water and all that. I conserve as much as I can, especially you cannot use city water for this. You have to use for sprouting. I would not use tap water at all. You could either use your homemade vinegar, which that's what that purple stuff is, or you could use apple cider vinegar. I'm going to use the grapeseed extract because it just gets rid of more bacteria, and I am dirty and nasty and a farmer. So the more bacteria I can get rid of, the better. You definitely want to have sterile jars in doing this, and use, filtered or unchlorinated water, or look up a video on how to get, you can just leave, you can only get tap water, leave a jar out of water overnight and leave the lid off, and the chlorine will, evaporate out. But if you use chlorinated water, it actually could kill your seeds, and they would not sprout. So you definitely don't want to do that. I will leave, if I can figure out how to leave a link for the type of grains that I did use, but really get any that you can and get whatever ingredients you can and get as close as possible if you're feeling led to do this. It does not have to be perfect. It is just, as a matter of fact, this bread is a beautiful thing. It's a gift that God gave us for fasting, and it's not actually meant to be delicious, although it is delicious. So it's meant to be nourishing, and it's just a beautiful story. And I'm going to go on to part 2. I'll show you. I'm going to get some water. Hold on. Guys, I put maybe an inch of water, maybe half an inch over the top. I used about 4 drops of grapeseed extract because I'm working with bacteria that you guys probably are not working with, which not all bacteria is bad. I used a clean mason jar lid, clean sterilized mason jar lid, and I actually shook up every single jar using the same lid. I'm not worried about that because all inside is sterile. I didn't touch anything. So it's ready to go. I'm leaving it for a soak overnight. I did not have enough rings to go on all of my coffee filters. I have sprouting lids. I use them frequently. I just don't use them typically in the winter or summertime because I have so many bugs all the time in the wintertime. And it's too hot. Summertime. It's too hot for me to just sterilize everything all the time. I'm sitting here sweating to death. I'm 100% off grid. So in this wintertime, I absolutely do that. And I enjoy heating things up and sterilizing and cleaning dishes in the wintertime. I do not enjoy it at all in the summertime. And I've got a lot of extra chores. Matter of fact, there goes a bug. Where did it just go? There goes. There goes a bug already on that jar right there. And now it's gone. I got too close. Hopefully somebody saw it. But anyways, there's a ton of bugs and a ton of junk. I would just rather throw something away right now, a one-time use, and it goes in my garden. I compost everything. My animals love it. My garden loves it. I'm okay with it. You do you, I'll do me. You definitely, absolutely do not need to use a lid to shake things up. I just also don't want to dirty a spoon. And I am not sterile right now. I normally do things with gloves, but I didn't touch anything except for the outer edge of the coffee filters with my hands. So, and they will not be, anyways, I'm not worried about what I'm doing. I know that I'm okay with this. You do it your way. I have to be a little bit overly cautious at this time. but you might not have to be so cautious. And really, I've never gotten sick from a ferment ever. So don't worry about that at all. If you see mold or if you see something like that, obviously throw it out. But this is going to go for an overnight soak. In the morning, I'm going to dump it. I should record it for you, I guess. I don't know why I would have to. I'm just going to dump this in the morning, and then I'm going to rinse it out and sprout it. If I had more water, and if you have more water, I actually would have rinsed these oats before I soaked them. But this still gets off the growth inhibitors, and this is perfectly fine. If I did have extra water, though, I actually would have done that. That's the only thing that I'm doing a little bit less than I normally would. Anyways, be blessed. See you for the next part. Okay, guys, it's the next morning. All of the seeds have expanded. Some of them, like these peas, are way above the water line. The water line's way at the bottom, as you can see it right there. But most of them are about at the level that I had them. The millet's got a lot of water left on top. So, this step, we are going to drain off all the excess water. Let me show you how much water's in there. Not very much. Anyways, we're going to drain off all the extra water. That's almost, look at that. It's almost started to sprout. We're going to drain off all the extra water, use a little bit of water to rinse. And I'm going to be rinsing mine, draining off water and rinsing. Well, there's going to be no more water. We're just going to rinse and drain, rinse and drain. I'm going to do it twice a day. If you are in central heat and air, you could probably do it once a day. I am not. Sorry about the dogs, and the dogs are barking at the goats. They're running everywhere, and I just heard the goats. So, anyways, rinse once or twice a day. Make sure that you're draining all the water out, and as soon as you see sprouting, I'm going to dehydrate the first ones that sprout, and then you just keep on dehydrating them. Or you can do, after you watch the whole video, you can see how to make it, and you could just make enough to do a loaf of bread. I'm going to dehydrate it so I have it stored in a jar, ready to use. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to rinse and repeat and show you what it looks like tomorrow. So you want every little last drop of water out of your jars. And my goats are appreciating that I am lifting the lid a little bit to drain, and they are coming to eat it. Excuse the mess. Between me and the goats and everybody else, we make a big mess, but they are getting into stuff. So you really want to get every last drop of water out for good airflow and to keep it from molding. So if you have a jar like this that they swelled up and they're kind of stuck, you just shake it pretty hard and keep on shaking it until the bottom line busts up, and then you drain it. Isn't that right? The goats are still looking. I got all of my jars drained. Some of the water is a little bit thicker, like in case of the lentils. It was pretty thick water. So when you rinse, which I'm about to do, I'm about to add water and shake it up and rinse. You want to make sure that your water is running clear and that every last drop of water is out. I will be placing a new coffee filter. As I mentioned yesterday, I'm not touching anything here, so I've got goats right here by me. It's really funny. I can't do anything around here. Anyways, I'm about to put a little bit of water in, shake it up, and drain it again. I consider these sprouts to be my babies. I watch them like I would a sourdough starter or anything else that's fermenting. I just constantly check them. I'm keeping these on their side. I'll come back in about an hour and tilt them again just in case I didn't get all the water out. And I will be changing the coffee filters at that time for the second time. You will get tears when you're draining, and or when you're putting your lid back on it. It doesn't always happen when you're draining. If you get a tear, just, tilt your jar to where it comes out the other side. Lift this ring a little bit. I use my finger on here, and I lift this up and let some of the water come out with my finger. I know it's kind of a learning experience, and it's actually hard for me to explain, especially since I cannot tape it with or video it with one hand. But just watch your babies and you'll know how to take care of them. Keep the seeds in and every single bit of water out at this time. And rinse and repeat as often as you feel necessary. If you have, if you're using a sprouting lid and a draining rack that's at an angle where your jars are like this, you won't have to do this next part as much, but I just do. And I have the racks, I just don't have 80 of them, but I do have them, and I just prefer to do it like this. I always have. Sometimes depending on the time of year, I will prop them up like this, and the level of sanitary. I don't really want this lid sitting on anything right now, so I'd rather it be self-contained in a halfway sterile environment. It's completely sterile in there, actually. Other than the fact that I touched those coffee filters at one point on the very edge. It's sterile. So, keep it going. Alternatively, you can stack your jars like this at an angle, but you would have to have them propped perfectly. I've got a lot of animals and cats, and just anything can knock these over, so I don't. As a goat literally tries to jump in here. I'm glad you like those coffee filters. You get all those seeds, they're good for you. They are, oh, yep, I see you stepping on the bottle. Those are some good seeds, aren't they? Guys, this is the second morning, and as you can see, the peas are sprouted. The spelt is sprouted, and I would say that's sprouted. Yep. Oh, those are my oats. Those are actually not part of this. My oats are sprouted. I'm going to go rinse these things and start to dehydrate some of these things. So actually I'm going to dehydrate all of them at this time because tomorrow is the Feast of Trumpets and it's a Sabbath, and I'm going to take a day of rest. So this will be started, and then some of them I'm going to actually put together in a bread. So I'm going to put some raw in the bread, and then I'm going to dehydrate the rest. Okay, guys, I have my 4-tray solar dehydrator. Well, it's an Excalibur dehydrator that does run off solar. The 4-tray one does. I'm going to tell you the truth. It only does for a couple hours. This one being mainly sun done. I did clean it with food grade hydrogen peroxide. It is as sanitary as I can get it. And I will be sprouting some bread. I've got 3 trays. Some of them are actually pretty packed. And then the 1 tray of oats that I also am doing. But I'm really looking forward to having a loaf of that bread for our Feast of Trumpets tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to having it in a jar, dehydrated, ready to go anytime I want. Hope you enjoy. Be blessed. Oh, you know what? I probably will show you guys my loaf of bread once I make it. Love you. So I've got my sourdough starter, a little bit of Himalayan pink sea salt, my sprouted grains. I'm adding a pinch of brown sugar. About probably half a tablespoon. And then I'm going to add a little bit more flour and mix it all up. I've got not olive oil. I actually am using coconut oil. Olive oil goes rancid out here really fast. So I'm going to add a little bit of flour. And then I'm going to mix it all up. I don't have an oven, so I'm going to cook it in a double cast iron pan. So that's what it looks like all mixed up. And I'm going to let it rise a little bit, and then I'm going to bake it in this cast iron pan with the lid on top. Use like a Dutch oven on top of a very small flame. And once I dehydrate my grains, I will dehydrate them, grind them up, and it'll be a totally different process. But this is delicious just like this. Okay, guys, I got 2 pint jars, and I would have gotten easily, I'm sure I would have gotten at least 2 quart jars. Probably 3. I've got goats trying to get over here right now, so I'm going to be quick. The bread is absolutely delicious. I'm going to grind as I go, but it was really, really delicious, fresh also. if you want to do it like this, or if you want to grind it up. You saw my previous how to make it. Just, I would put, of the dry mix, I would put a quarter to a whole cup, and I'd mix it with flour or sourdough. And if you're not using sourdough starter, use a little bit of yeast, a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar or honey if you wish. Bake 350 for however long, and enjoy. It's wait until it cools to cut it open. It's absolute. Oh, I'd also put, you know what? I would also put some form of oil in with it. But do whatever and enjoy it. Be blessed till the next video.